Hello and welcome to your weekly horoscope for week commencing the 23rd of May. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the broad strands to look out for, but please stay with me. I will then give in great detail each of the 12 zodiac signs that you can relate to, the key dates and influences for each one. Now, on the 29th of April, Mercury, the planet of communication, moved into the sign of Gemini. But on the 10th of May, around 2 weeks ago, it went into a retrograde. And as we start this week, Mercury retreats back within that retrograde into the sign of Taurus. Now, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, so even in the retrograde, and of course it's been in a recently sparkling alliance with the flirtatious Venus, there have been possibilities. A lot of communications, a lot of ideas. I think Mercury reversing back into Taurus asks us to get really grounded about what some of those ideas may be and try to get a more tangible idea of how we can make things work in a really practical way. So an opportunity, I think, to still grapple with those finances, especially with the recent cost of living increases, and where we can squeeze a bit more from our budget. Mercury's going to help us to think about those things. But when it comes to thinking, late last week there was a quarter moon in the dreamy sign of Pisces, and that squared the Sun in the sign of Gemini. So a little bit of gossip could be doing the rounds this week. We should definitely not necessarily just believe at face value something we're told, particularly within our neighbourhood. There could also be some potential for misunderstandings with siblings. Now, this is a really important week in so many ways, but I think mostly because Mars on Tuesday returns to one of its two home zones, but of course it is the only ruling planet of the sign of Aries, and that's where it gets back to on Tuesday for a 6-week stay. But it immediately forges an absolutely fantastic link with Jupiter. Now, Jupiter, of course, is the planet of expansion. So now Mars returns to Aries. We have Jupiter, the planet of growth and potentially of good luck. And we also have Venus in the sign of Aries too. So the potential for initiative and drive is very strong. When Mars and Jupiter get together, it can give us an even greater sense of determination and thrust. But we also must remember that the element of the sign of Aries is fire, and Jupiter can, see us be a little bit overconfident in some ways. So it's going to be important to keep, grounded, and perhaps Mercury in that retrograde in Taurus can help this, especially when we're wanting to bring a much more excitement and action to a situation that may have stalled. But it's not just Mars that's forging a gorgeous link with Jupiter, because the Sun is, from Monday to Friday, in a sextile, and this is one of the luckiest aspects that you can get in astrology. So if our ideas are strong, our determination and spirit to see them through, that energy in Aries, particularly with Jupiter, that gives us a great opportunity to move forwards at some pace. So something that has been a little bit stuck could gain traction, and that's really exciting. Now, ironically, Venus forges a very positive link with Saturn this week, a very stabilizing angle. So this is, if you like, Venus in Aries, technically detrimented, but it's in a sextile with the co-ruler of Aquarius. So that's very much about the collective, the group, friends, if you like. Venus is about taking in the sign of Aries. It's about maybe just going for it a little bit. But if there is something that's working out well in a relationship, it could actually be very stable. The irony is that Venus is also in a square with Pluto from Monday through to the end of the week. And any relationship that is leveraged, so where Perhaps someone is promising us a really amazing deal around a job, or perhaps it could be that someone tries to spoil us big time if they're trying to get to know us, almost like being over generous. It's not to say that there's anything sinister with these tactics, but we just must be aware that Pluto's about power and Venus is about money as well as potentially sex. So, the inference is clear. Saturn can bring stability, but Pluto can bring some leverage. So just be conscious of that. But I think the key this week is to cut through the swirling mist that is that quarter moon, because there could be some mixed signals. It's not just Mercury's retrograde, and Mercury's retrograde in Taurus is most certainly asking us to scrutinize the details of things in a very exacting way. Now, if you are new to my channel, I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. I'm getting very close to that 100,000 mark. All the illnesses I've had in recent years, last 10 years, catching up now. So we'd greatly appreciate if you would click or tap on the bell notification symbol. If you would like to ascend above this broadcast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal information, time, date and place of birth, I can share with you an astrological roadmap that can guide the rest of your life, and also my special package of 30% off a character analysis for the next 12 months. No 2 charts are the same. Please see the link beneath this video. But please stay with me now for your individual zodiac forecast. So Capricorn, your week commencing the 23rd of May forecast sees the sun finding its feet in your sector of order, of details, of practicalities, efficiencies, and anything where you can just make some marginal gains by making some small changes which add up to something more substantive. But the quarter moon, which occurred in the sign of Pisces at the end of last week, means that this week is not a week where it's necessarily a good thing to be so focused on those efficiencies that actually you stress yourself out trying to get everything to be absolutely perfect. So your nervous system will appreciate some focus on rest, on some recuperation, perhaps enjoying some time just relaxing in the garden or in some outdoor spaces, getting connected to the earth, which the 6th house is very much about. But Mercury, the planet of communication, moves at the start of this week into your 5th house, which is more playful. The implication here is that if you can combine your ideas with grappling with those ways of delivering things efficiently, by the middle of June, when Mercury returns to Gemini, you can really make an idea you've got come to life. But Tuesday of this week sees Mars move into your 4th house. Now, it's been in a very active zone for you recently. The last 6 weeks you may have moved around a lot. You may have been a bit more vigorous in your exercise routine. You may have had a lot of interaction with others. If you're someone who's really into the digital world, you could have been inspired recently. But of course Mars joins up with Jupiter and also Venus in your 4th house, but immediately with Jupiter. If there are plans you've got to change where you live, move altogether, add to your family, they really can take on a lot more traction from the start of this week. Also, the Sun is going to be forging a very providential link to Jupiter. So your eye for those details and the ways in which you can improve things could actually improve your fortunes, and that could be linked to a property. For some Capricorns, it may even be finding a way to work from home or to have a job which you can work around the family that enables you to structure your existence in a feasible way. Now, it's also true to say that Venus, the planet of love and affection, does square up with Pluto in your sign, but forges a very positive link with your ruler Saturn. So I think the implication there is, don't be too gung-ho about your resources if you are wanting to improve where you live, either decoratively or add in some new furnishings or perhaps a physical change. And the angle with Pluto in your sign just suggests that around a relationship issue, important to stay attuned to the sensitivities of things. When we get Mars in the fourth house, we can be a bit wham bam, and if someone's feeling a bit less confident around you, someone close to you is not feeling quite as much on top form, as long as you can respond to that in a sensitive way, I don't think this aspect will show up too much. And Saturn in your sign, forging a really good link with Venus, means that if you are making progress around a relationship where you have shared values and it's, you know, really a sensible connection, then that's something that you can really appreciate. But if there is a sense that there's a bit of push and shove around who gets the upper hand in a relationship, it's going to be important to resist getting too impatient if someone's not getting onto something quite as quickly as you. And that's simply because of Mars being in the fourth house. It's, you know, it's a bit feistier, obviously, around the most sensitive area of life, our emotions, our feelings. So try to harness your patience if someone is a bit slower to pick up where you're coming from on those changes you want to make, or those changes themselves aren't happening quite as quickly as you would like. But generally speaking, Mercury's retrograde suggests that something may need revisiting around an idea, but really this is a time when you can structure things very skillfully, as long as you're patient.